discuss human gut microbiome sciences. As we have a few more people to join in, we will be starting the webinar in 5 minutes. We appreciate your patience and understanding as we want to ensure everyone has the opportunity to join us for this event. But before we begin, I want to remind you to check your internet connection and ensure that you are in a quiet space where you can fully engage with the webinar. Also, please feel free to use the chat box to ask any questions or share your thoughts during the talk. We will be holding a Q&A session after the talk where we will be available to answer any questions you may have. So please feel free to share your questions or concern in the chat box, and we will do our best to answer them. Hello everyone, I am Mustafa Inamdar, Science Communicator at Decode Age and moderator for today's webinar. Am I audible? So welcome to today's webinar. We are thrilled to have you all here today, and we hope that this webinar will provide valuable insights and knowledge on human gut microbiome sciences. It's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker today, Mr. Darshit Patel. Darshit is India's leading aging expert and the founder and chief science officer at Decode Age, a company that aims to decode the biological mechanisms of aging and develop interventions to promote healthy aging. So, hi Darshit, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Mustafa, for that generous introduction and introducing the work that the company is doing. Very grateful for that.
Thank you, Darshit. Darshit, so when I was doing my master's in biotechnology, I was introduced to gut microbiome sciences and I was amazed by it. Because for someone who is not aware of gut microbiome or overall microbiome sciences, he or she will see microbes as a problem, right? Bacteria is something that I have to get rid of by using a Dettol hand wash. However, the truth is that microbes play an essential role in our health and well-being. And the fact that now we can identify these microbes living inside us with a test kit just give me goosebumps. I'm like, yes, please tell me which bacteria live inside my gut and what can I do to optimize them. And Decode Myome is all about that. And I want to understand from you what are the benefits I will get and how to use it. But before going into that, I request you to explain what gut microbiome is for those who are not yet familiar with this field. And in that context, the first question that I want to ask you is, what is human gut microbiome and why is it important to our health?
Right, interesting. So the two-pronged question that you have asked me here, Mustafa, in itself have very deep answers, but I'll try to, keep it as simple and as followable as I can. So just like you, I got introduced to microbiome as a subject during my education as well. And what is microbiome actually? All our lives, we have heard that, all these bacteria and all this surround us everywhere. We touch the table, it's on our hand, it's on our skin, face, hair, everywhere. So for the longest time, the traditional, the scientific methods, we could only culture the bacteria. What does culture means? That we grow one particular type of bacteria and then we try to see what it does to your system. But slowly, as we realized that 99% of microorganisms cannot actually be cultured, which means they cannot be actually grown in laboratory to understand their function. So we needed a new term to describe it, and that is microbiome. In fact, fascinatingly, my first experience with microbiome was in a freshwater community. So we collected a lot of freshwater samples in a city, and we saw that there are so many microorganisms that it was just unfathomable. And all these microorganisms used to enter our ecosystem through, the waterways and all that. So naturally, there were environments within our body as well, which can harbor so many microorganisms. So one of the most populated of such organs is the gut. For the longest time, we thought gut is like the stomach, the intestine, how the intestine moves, how the food is being digested. The humankind in the science thought that it was our own cells that used to digest the food. But as we moved forward, we realized that it is not the same, right? There are other factors which help in our metabolism. If you don't mind me adding a bit of Hindi in middle, that would make it more engaging to others as well. So essentially, हमारे अंदर एक बैक्टीरिया, एक फंगाई, वायरस और आर्किया जैसे बहुत सारे माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स हमारे इंटेस्टाइन के अंदर रहते हैं. एंड इनका काम ही है ओवर द इवोल्यूशनरी पीरियड कि ये हमें असिस्ट करे हमारा खाना डाइजेस्ट करने में या हमारा होम्योस्टैसिस मेंटेन करने में. अब होम्योस्टैसिस एसेंशियली एक ऐसा बैलेंस है, एक ऐसी हार्मनी है मेटाबॉलिज्म की, जिससे the body keeps running. The body keeps running in the most optimal way, in the best way possible. So these microorganisms assist there. अब इसमें कुछ बैक्टीरिया है. We are hearing the word probiotic quite oftenly, in recent times. So what are these probiotics? These are the good bacteria. The bacteria जो हमें help करता है हमारा everyday digestion process continue करने में, या इनफैक्ट हमारी immunity maintain करने में, या गट के अंदर हो रहा इन्फ्लेमेशन कम करने के लिए. सो दीज आर ऑल प्रोबायोटिक्स, दीज आर द गुड बैक्टीरिया. बट उसके ही सामने एक बैड बैक्टीरिया का भी पूरा सेक्शन है जिसे हम पैथोजेंस कहते हैं, राइट? इन बैक्टीरिया का ये काम है कि दे विल डिस्ट्रॉय द गुड बैक्टीरिया, दे विल हिंडर द डाइजेशन प्रोसेस, दे विल इंड्यूस कॉन्स्टिपेशन और डायरिया, और इवन कॉज क्रॉनिक प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट? अभी हम काफी टाइम से सुनते आ रहे हैं कि गट माइक्रोबायोम इन साइंस इज कॉल्ड द फॉरगॉटन ऑर्गन, राइट? नाउ फॉरगॉटन ऑर्गन बिकॉज आज तक हमने जब भी डाइजेशन की बात की है, हमने स्टमक की बात की है, हमने पैनक्रियास की बात की है, हमने लिवर की बात की है. किसी ने माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स के बारे में बात नहीं की है, जो हमारा 70% मेटाबॉलिज्म कंट्रोल करता है. एंड इंटरेस्टिंगली हमारे गट के अंदर हमारे खुद के सेल्स से ज्यादा बैक्टीरियल सेल्स है, 3 times more. So
this is very interesting, right? इससे ज्यादा like.
So there are 30 trillion bacterial cells in our gut, and of course they are not just meant to sit there, right? They are meant to do something. तो microbiome जो science है या human gut microbiome जो science है, वो in bacteria, in virus, in fungi पे focus करता है, and it tries to understand what it is doing to your body at a personalized level, right? कि आपके लिए कुछ खाना अच्छा है पर कुछ खाना खराब है, right? Staying in the same family, eating the same food, we see that 2 members in the same family have different problems with gut. Why is it so? That means there is something very personalized happening within your gut, and that is done actually by microbiome.
So यही थॉट को हम अगर कंटिन्यू करें पर्सनलाइज्ड, तो आप अगर उस पर और एक्सप्लेन कर सके कि कैसे ये फूड और माइक्रोबायोम हर एक के लिए डिफरेंट रहेगा, और इसलिए अलग अलग फूड, अलग अलग डाइट हर एक इंडिविजुअल के लिए अलग है, एंड हाउ टू चेक दैट विद द हेल्प ऑफ गट माइक्रोबायोम. तो अगर वो थॉट प्रोसेस आप थोड़ा क्लियर कर दें.
राइट, ऑफ कोर्स. जैसे we'll take a few examples. जैसे हम एक लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस एक काफी बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है जो लोगों को रियलाइज नहीं होता है एवरीडे लाइफ में until and unless they really get checked themselves. लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस एक ऐसा प्रॉब्लम है जहां पे हम डेयरी प्रोडक्ट्स इजीली डाइजेस्ट नहीं कर पाते, राइट? We might have heard that people with lactose intolerance pass a lot of gases. It's funny in a way, but then on the other hand, there are these microorganisms which are playing a role. जो essential lactobacillus के strain है जो usually help करते हैं dairy products digest करने में और digesting the milk or the yogurt or whatever. So all these microorganisms need to be there to digest that. Similarly, हम देखते हैं कि किन किन लोगों को ग्लूटेन सेंसिटिविटी ज्यादा होती है, यानी कि जो हम व्हीट एंड ग्रेन्स खाते हैं उसके अंदर जो ग्लूटेन आता है उससे इन्फ्लेमेशन ज्यादा होता है. नाउ इवन फॉर ग्लूटेन एक स्पेसिफिक सेट ऑफ बैक्टीरिया है जो डाइजेस्ट करता है, राइट? सो इफ दीज बैक्टीरिया आर मिसिंग, आपका लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस बढ़ने का काफी ज्यादा चांस है, ग्लूटेन इंटॉलरेंस बढ़ने का काफी ज्यादा चांस है. सो वी नीड टू चेक आवर माइक्रोबायोम प्रोफाइल कि क्या हमारे पास वो राइट बैक्टीरिया है जो फूड हम खाते हैं उसे डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए. काफी टाइम कहा जाता है कि मेरे लिए जो खाना है शायद आपके लिए एक पॉइजन हो सकता है, एंड दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द माइक्रोबायोम. क्या मेरा माइक्रोबायोम डाइजेस्ट कर पा रहा है? हम देखते हैं कि प्रोटीन इंटेक कोई बढ़ा देता है, कोई कार्बोहाइड्रेट इंटेक बढ़ा देता है अकॉर्डिंग टू डिफरेंट डाइट प्लान्स, बट क्या हमारा माइक्रोबायोम केपेबल है जितना प्रोटीन हम ले रहे हैं उसे डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए, या जितना कार्बोहाइड्रेट हम ले रहे हैं उसे डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए? तो ये सारे फैक्टर्स है जो माइक्रोबायोम कंट्रोल कर रहा है विद इन द गट. एंड आई थिंक इट्स रियली इंपॉर्टेंट दैट व्हेन यू आर लुकिंग फॉर एन पर्सनलाइज्ड diet or personalized way to live a healthy life, then microbiome is definitely an important aspect coming into the picture.
तो हम अगर हेल्दी गट माइक्रोबायोम हमें अगर मेंटेन करना है तो एक्चुअली उसके लिए करना क्या पड़ेगा, इन द सेंस दैट कि हम कैसे डिसाइड करें कि ये पर्टिकुलर एक्सरसाइज मेरे लिए अच्छी है, ये पर्टिकुलर डाइट मेरे लिए अच्छा है, वो डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस कैसे हो?
सो एक जनरलाइज्ड हेल्थ तो ऑफ कोर्स एक है ही, जहाँ पे हम अच्छा फाइबर इंटेक ले सकते हैं, जैसे कि वेजिटेबल्स एंड फ्रूट्स खा लिए ज्यादा हमने हमारे डेली डाइट में. सो या तो कुछ फाइबर रिच फूड खा लिया. सो ऑल दीज फैक्टर्स आर डेफिनेटली देयर. बट अगर हमें रियली एक ऑप्टिमाइजेशन लेवल पे जाना है, राइट, एक हेल्थ को छोड़ के एक ऑप्टिमाइजेशन लेवल वो आता है जहां पे हम बॉडी को नेसेसिटी से ज्यादा हेल्दी रखें, राइट, कीपिंग द क्रॉनिक डिजीजेस अवे. बहुत बार हेल्दी लोगों को भी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं, एंड वी हैव सीन आफ्टर कोविड how the most healthiest and the gym going and the active people are also suffering from certain kind of diseases. So एक optimization वो stage है जहां हम इन diseases को भी दूर रख सके. एंड वहां पे what we can do is we can really understand कि हम एक माइक्रोबायोम को समझे. हमारे एक स्टूल सैंपल से हमें पूरा माइक्रोबायोम प्रोफाइल मिल सकता है. उस प्रोफाइल से हम समझे कि हमारे लिए कौन सा खाना अवॉइड करना चाहिए और हमारे गट के लिए हमें कौन सा खाना खाना चाहिए. या तो फिर जब हम डाइट चेंज कर रहे हैं, अगर हम बोल रहे हैं कि मेरे रेगुलर डाइट से मुझे ज्यादा कीटो की तरफ जाना है या तो फिर मुझे ज्यादा प्रोटीन की तरफ जाना है, तो इट इज नेसेसरी कि हम हमारा माइक्रोबायोम चेक करें कि क्या वो केपेबल है जो इंटेक हम कीटो का या प्रोटीन का लेने वाला है उसे डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए. सो ऑल दीज फैक्टर्स नीड टू बी टेस्टेड थ्रू अ प्रॉपर स्टूल बेस्ड माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट, जिससे हमें पता चलेगा कि हमारे अंदर कौन से बैक्टीरिया, वायरस, फंगाई जी रहे हैं और वो क्या क्या रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं, और उनके हिसाब से हम फिर हमारा पूरा डाइट प्लान डिजाइन करें, या तो फूड प्लान डिजाइन करें या तो एक लाइफस्टाइल डिजाइन करें.
और एक और चीज थी कि आपने जैसे बोला अभी कि जो हेल्दी आपकी हेल्थ है उसको आपको ज्यादा ऑप्टिमाइज करना है टू अवॉइड द क्रॉनिक डिजीजेस, राइट? तो मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था कि अगर आप ये एक्सप्लेन कर दे कि कैसे ये डिसबैलेंस इन द गट माइक्रोबायोम लीड्स टू क्रॉनिक डिजीजेस, तो लोगों को ज्यादा समझ में आए. ओके, तो एक गट माइक्रोबायोम का अगर डिसबैलेंस हो गया तो क्रॉनिक डिजीजेस हो सकते हैं, और इस वजह से आपको गट माइक्रोबायोम को काफी सीरियसली लेना है.
राइट. सो माइक्रोबायोम इज इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय मेनी फैक्टर्स. फर्स्ट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कि एक चीज नहीं है जो माइक्रोबायोम को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रही है, राइट? द एयर यू ब्रीथ इज इन्फ्लुएंसिंग योर माइक्रोबायोम. इफ यू आर स्टेइंग इन अ क्लीन एनवायरनमेंट, आपके घर के अंदर कौन कौन से बैक्टीरिया, अगर आप सर्टेन सिटीज विच आर हाई ऑन ह्यूमिडिटी, वहां घर में मोल्ड्स का काफी प्रॉब्लम है. सो ऑल दीज फंगल टॉक्सिन्स एंटर योर बॉडी एंड दे आर ऑल्सो अफेक्टिंग योर माइक्रोबायोम. So there are multiple external factors affecting your microbiome which can severely disturb जो population रहता है आपके gut के अंदर. that can lead to chronic disease. या तो sometimes it's a vicious circle. एक environment affect कर रहा है, but आपकी body के भी अंदर कुछ changes हो रहे हैं, जिसकी वजह से microbiome influence हो सकता है. जैसे अगर gut के अंदर inflammation बढ़ रहा है, तो अगर हमें नहीं पता हो तो I'll just shortly describe कि हमारा एक intestine दिखता कैसे. तो एक 7 layers का thick wall रहता है, एक बाहर के environment में और एक intestine के अंदर. And each of this layer is made by different kind of cells, like the immune cells, like the inflammatory cells and all. जब ये layers break down होने लगता है, तो हमारा बैक्टीरिया जो गट में कर रहा है वो अब ब्लड में भी एस्केप होने लगता है. And that can cause a problem somewhere else, right? So it's a two-way influence. अगर बाहर का influence है, let's say you ate a junk food last night and you're not getting the right microbes, आपने बहुत ही ज्यादा ब्रेड खा लिया है या तो एक अनहाइजेनिक जगह से कुछ फ्राइड फूड खा लिया है. So the good bacteria are going to get killed. If you are introducing the bad bacteria and the bad fungi inside, it's going to first attack the good bacteria so that they get enough nutrients to grow. So that is the external way it can change. And when the good bacteria goes down, the bad bacteria increases. Automatically, you will experience digestion, acidity, heartburns, constipation. And on a longer run, if you maintain this junk food lifestyle, this is going to continue over and over and over again. And it is going to start breaking your gut linings. जब वो gut lining के अंदर एक होल होने लगेंगे, तो सारे बैक्टीरिया एस्केप करेंगे ब्लड में, फिर वो जाएंगे आपकी किडनी में, आपके ब्रेन में, आपके हार्ट में, आपके लिवर में, पैनक्रियाज में, और हर एक वो ऑर्गन में जहां वो रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. अगर हम आज भी देखें तो साइंटिफिक स्टडीज ये कहते हैं कि रूमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस, टाइप 2 डायबिटीज, या तो फिर कार्डियोवास्कुलर इश्यूज, muscle loss, या तो chronic kidney diseases, even pulmonary infections, which is lung related infection, काफी हद तक gut microbiome पे डिपेंड करता है. And this is for this one simple reason कि खराब microbiome से gut के lining टूट जाते हैं, and उसकी वजह से जो चीजें gut के अंदर होनी थी, अब वो escape होके blood में जा चुकी है और वो पूरी body तक फैल रही है. So जो बैक्टीरिया आपके लिए gut के अंदर अच्छा है, वो शायद हार्ट में अच्छा नहीं है. सो ये सारे जो फैक्टर्स है एक बार मिलके एक क्रॉनिक डिजीज को इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं हमारी बॉडी के अंदर. एंड दिस इज नॉट समथिंग दैट हैपेंस इन अ डे और टू. जैसे टाइप 2 डायबिटीज जैसी डिजीज ऐसा नहीं है कि आज मेरा ब्लड शुगर लेवल एकदम नॉर्मल है, मैंने कल टेस्ट कराया और सडनली मैं डायबिटिक हो गया. वो वैसे नहीं होता. इट हैपेंस ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट कि हम इसे अर्ली प्रिडिक्ट करें कि हमारे अंदर अच्छे बैक्टीरिया है या खराब. अगर खराब है तो वो कौन कौन सी डिजीज से एसोसिएटेड है, और अगर वो एसोसिएटेड है तो हम उसे कंट्रोल या रिवर्स कैसे करें. तो ये सारे फैक्टर्स. सो पूरा एक 5 या 7 साल का टाइमलाइन है फॉर अ डिजीज टू डेवलप इन योर बॉडी. एंड विद इन दिस 5 to 7 years योर माइक्रोबायोम इज बीइंग कॉन्स्टेंटली इन्फ्लुएंस्ड.
थैंक यू दर्शित, ये एक्सप्लेनेशन के लिए. हम बचपन से सुनते आ रहे हैं, राइट? अवॉइड जंक फूड, अवॉइड दिस, अवॉइड दैट, बैड फूड बेसिकली. और ये एक्सप्लेनेशन कि आप वो कैसे आपके गट माइक्रोबायोम को इन्फ्लुएंस करता है एंड दैट लीड्स टू क्रॉनिक डिसीजेस, इट मेक्स सेंस नाउ. वही है कि अगर साइंटिफिक एक्सप्लेनेशन भी हो दिमाग में कि चीज कैसे काम कर रही है, तो एक मोटिवेशन रहता है कि हमको अच्छी हेल्थ पे काम करना चाहिए. तो दर्शित, जो दूसरी चीज मैं आपको पूछना चाहूंगा अभी, कि अभी रिसेंटली जो 14 हॉलमार्क्स ऑफ एजिंग का नया पेपर जो आया है, उसमें dysbiosis of gut microbiome dysbiosis is added as a hallmark of aging. मतलब गट में होने वाला dysbiosis ये एजिंग कॉज करता है. तो आप अगर वो एस्पेक्ट भी एक्सप्लेन कर दे तो बेहतर.
Right, of course. So आप एकदम ही like we have moved to a very advanced level. First we come down to the basics कि एक dysbiosis का क्या मतलब है. हम जब से वेबिनार स्टार्ट हुआ है, we have been discussing the balance between the good microorganisms and the bad microorganisms. तो ये balance is homeostasis, which is the gut microbiome homeostasis. But जब ये balance bad की तरफ बढ़ने लगता है, then it is a problem. This is called dysbiosis in itself, right? When the bad microorganisms start growing more than the good ones, and there's a majority population dominated by them within our guts, right? That is where the real dysbiosis problem starts. Now, इसी dysbiosis is related to many diseases. अगर आप पिछले 7 या 10 साल का साइंटिफिक रिसर्च माइक्रोबायोम की फील्ड में देखेंगे, so we'll see that many chronic diseases, जो हमारे chronic diseases है, जैसे हम type 2 diabetes या तो फिर even colon cancer, या तो फिर कार्डियोवास्कुलर इश्यूज, या तो डिमेंशिया, अल्जाइमर्स, पार्किंसंस जैसे इश्यूज, these have been shown to have some kind of correlation with gut microbiome. That means the dysbiosis of gut microbiome. जब microbiome disturb हुआ है, when certain specific species have started growing more than the other ones, you have seen that these diseases develop in your body. So that is how the microbiome dysbiosis is influencing bad health or chronic diseases. Now, हम aging पे आए, तो aging in itself is a very complex process. You know, when we say 14 hallmarks of aging, which means that there are 14 molecular reasons why your body is aging. मतलब 14 ऐसे reasons है हमारी body के अंदर जिससे हमारा body का aging का pace maintain हो रहा है, right? Many times we'll see that, you know, let's say I am 35 and my friend is also 35, but we'll see that either he's behaving younger or older than I am. Why is it that? You know, मतलब there is a fundamental difference in our biology. भले ही हम 35 इयर्स के हैं दोनों, बट एक फंडामेंटल डिफरेंस है जिसकी वजह से शायद मैं ज्यादा यंग फील कर रहा हूँ, या वो ज्यादा यंग फील कर रहा है या बिहेव कर रहा है, या तो फिर मुझे कम डिजीजेस है या डिजीजेस ही नहीं है, या और अदर पर्सन को है. सो इसे हम बायोलॉजिकल एजिंग कहते हैं, राइट? जो हमारी बायोलॉजी हमें दिखा रही है हमारे बॉडी के नंबर ऑफ इयर्स के बारे में. So within the biological aging in 2023, they added microbial dysbiosis as a hallmark of aging. अभी तक हमें लगता था कि एजिंग का रूट कॉज हमारे ही बॉडी के अंदर से आता है, बट नाउ इट हैज बीन रियलाइज्ड द इंक्रीजिंग रोल ऑफ माइक्रोबायोम इन एक्सेलरेटिंग एजिंग. जैसे हमने बात की कि वो गट के लाइनिंग का टूटना, या तो यू नो not eating the right food according to your microbiome, or not having the right microbiome according to the food you eat. These are the factors which are eventually going to increase the inflammation in your body. And inflammation हम देखते हैं कि एज से रिलेटेड सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है. हमने एंटीऑक्सीडेंट्स को इतना पॉपुलर कर रखा है, बट हमने कभी सोर्स ऑफ इन्फ्लेमेशन जानने की कोशिश नहीं की. सो सोर्स ऑफ इन्फ्लेमेशन, the one of the biggest source in fact is the microbiome itself. जिस दिन आपके बॉडी में डिसबायोसिस माइनर भी हो गया तो इन्फ्लेमेशन बहुत बढ़ जाता है. विद इन्फ्लेमेशन द गट लाइनिंग ब्रेक्स. As the gut lining breaks, you're more prone and vulnerable to the chronic diseases. So there's this whole cycle that goes within your body, and it is in fact like very impressive that the microbiome community has managed to convince the overall scientific community that now it is time that we look at microbiome as a factor which is really influencing our aging process, right? So it's rather interesting, and I'm sure that there are more and more things to be discovered with the microbiome.
Thank you, Darshit, ये overview देने के लिए gut microbiome के लिए. And now I am aware कि it is important कि आप अपने gut के अंदर good bacteria रखें और bad bacteria का एक balance रखें, जिसकी वजह से आपकी health अच्छी रहे. और बहुत सारा कोरिलेट कर पा रहे हैं हम जो सुन रहे हैं कि आप अच्छी एक्सरसाइज कीजिए, अच्छा खाना खाइए, तो ऐसा लोग क्यों बोलते? तो that I understood, and for that I'm very thankful. But the question that now I have is, इसे करे कैसे, right? अगर कुछ गट के बैक्टीरिया है तो उनको डिटेक्ट कैसे करें? और उधर डिकोड बायोम, डिकोड एज का गट माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट किट पिक्चर में आता है. तो आप रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप क्या प्लीज उसे एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं कि वो प्रोसेस कैसे करता है, उससे करने से क्या फायदा होगा, और वो पूरी प्रोसेस.
राइट. सो गट माइक्रोबायोम, पहले तो हम सैंपल कहाँ से लें? So the food passes through the entire intestine and finally comes down as a stool, which is the processed food basically on the other end of your gut, right? So obviously the biggest source of microorganisms जिसे हम non-invasively, यानी कि बिना कोई इंस्ट्रूमेंट को आपकी बॉडी के अंदर डाले बिना अगर कोई सोर्स है हमारे पास एक माइक्रोबायोम जानने के लिए, तो वो है आपका स्टूल सैंपल, राइट? सो स्टूल सैंपल सबसे पहले कलेक्ट होता है एक माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट में. प्रोसेस काफी सिंपल है. यू विल फाइंड द किट ऑन आवर वेबसाइट. आपको उसे ऑर्डर करना है एंड देयर बी अ लिटिल ट्यूब इन इट, राइट? अब इसके अंदर एक लिक्विड रहता है, आपको स्टूल सिर्फ कलेक्ट करना है और उसके अंदर रखना है, एंड देन वो आता है हमारे पास, एंड देन वी हैव अ सीक्वेंसिंग लैब. सो विद इन आवर डीएनए सीक्वेंसिंग लैब, हम वो स्टूल में जितना भी डीएनए हमें मिलता है, फिर वो आपका हो या बैक्टीरिया का हो या वायरस का हो या फंगाई का हो, हम वो सबको एक्सट्रैक्ट करते हैं और उसके अंदर से वी ट्राई टू फिगर आउट कि आपके अंदर कौन कौन से बैक्टीरिया है, वो अगर बैक्टीरिया का लिस्ट आता है, फंगाई का लिस्ट आता है, वायरस का लिस्ट आता है, फिर हमें पता चलता है कि इसमें से अच्छे वाले कौन से और बुरे वाले. That means the good and the bad bacteria, even the good and the bad fungi, the good and the bad virus. We get through all of that, and then बात सिर्फ उधर खत्म नहीं होती. You know, there's one thing that I tell you, if I have to introduce someone that okay, this is Mustafa, then does it end there? If I tell X person that this guy is Mustafa, meet him. That way the person has no knowledge about you, no introduction about you. So what I rather do is, hello, meet Mustafa. He is the scientific communicator and he's a ability to, make complex science simplify. So that's a proper introduction. उससे मुझे आपका potential पता चलता है. Similarly, हम gut microbiome में भी सिर्फ एक good and bad bacteria के list पे अटक नहीं सकते. We cannot just telling you that this is a good bacteria, this is a bad bacteria doesn't make sense neither to you, neither to me, neither to the doctor that is going to use probably the test results to give you a proper plan. So it is really important we go to the potential, right? If there's a good bacteria, what kind of food is it metabolizing, right? If there's a bad bacteria, how is it involved with a bad process in your gut? Gut lining breakage, if there are bacteria that are breaking the gut lining, we have to see their potential. Then we have to see if a bacteria or a virus or a fungi is able to digest the alcohol, digest, increase the serotonin या dopamine, जो कि एक न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर का सेक्शन है, क्या वो चीज प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं? या तो फिर अगर वो लैक्टोबैसिलस है तो क्या वो डेयरी प्रोडक्ट्स को डाइजेस्ट कर सकते हैं? क्या वो ग्लूटेन को डाइजेस्ट कर सकते हैं? क्या वो विटामिन सिंथेसिस कर सकते हैं? जैसे विटामिन के और विटामिन B9, दो इंपॉर्टेंट विटामिन है जो हमारे गट माइक्रोबायोम से प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, तो क्या वो प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं कि नहीं? सो इसे हम कहते हैं एक गट पोटेंशियल, कि एक बैक्टीरिया है, एक वायरस है, एक फंगाई है, बट वो कैसे आपकी हेल्थ को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है. इज इट इन्फ्लुएंसिंग योर इम्यूनिटी? इज इट इन्फ्लुएंसिंग योर इन्फ्लेमेशन? इज इट इन्फ्लुएंसिंग द न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर प्रोडक्शन इन योर बॉडी? वो किस टाइप के गैस बना रहा है? अगर वो हाइड्रोजन सल्फाइड जैसे गैस बना रहा है तो क्या आपके लिए हार्मफुल है या अच्छा है? अमोनिया जैसे गैस बना रहा है तो क्या वो आपके लिए हार्मफुल है या अच्छा है? क्या वो बैक्टीरिया, हमने प्रोबायोटिक सुना है, हमने प्रीबायोटिक सुना है. सो प्रोबायोटिक आर द गुड माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म. द प्रीबायोटिक आर द फूड दैट हेल्प्स द गुड माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म. बट देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड पोस्टबायोटिक्स, जिस पे हमने ज्यादा ध्यान नहीं दिया as as consumers, rather than, because scientific community is always looking for it. It's rather as consumers we have never considered postbiotics. पोस्टबायोटिक्स वो चीज है जब एक प्रोबायोटिक एक खाने को डाइजेस्ट करके कुछ चीजें प्रोड्यूस करता है, वो पोस्टबायोटिक्स है. क्या वो अच्छे पोस्टबायोटिक्स बन रहे हैं? दैट इज ऑल्सो समथिंग अ माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट शुड बी एबल टू टेस्ट, बिकॉज इफ इट इज नॉट एबल टू, you are just introducing this is Mustafa. You are not telling what is Mustafa actually good at it, what is Mustafa meant to do, and how is he going to be helpful to you. So ये सारे फैक्टर्स एक माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट को बनाते हैं अच्छी माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट, and which is what Decode Age is striving to give you in the current Indian microbiome testing environment. And the things don't end there. Once you, okay, how, now I have introduced you as this is Mustafa. He's a scientific communicator. His main skill is to turn complex science into easy science. But now, how can you utilize Mustafa? So that's another factor, right? The recommendation part. Then I tell my friend that, okay, you have a scientific company. Why don't you take help from Mustafa to, explain this particular scientific topic, let's say fuzzy algorithm, and then put it up simply. So that is what we also do with the microbiome test. We tell you which microorganisms are there, what potential they have in your gut, and then finally, if the potential is low, how to increase it, and if there is a high dysbiosis, which is the higher number of bad microorganisms, how to bring them to balance. So that is suggested by the food, which is very much personalized to your plan.
Thank you Darshit. तो ये तो बढ़िया ही है कि आप गट माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट भी करवा दोगे और ये बता भी दोगे कि उसको इम्प्रूव करना है. तो दिस इज अ कंप्लीट पैकेज. एंड थैंक यू फॉर दिस एक्सप्लेनेशन कि गट माइक्रोबायोम होता क्या है, और ये दूसरा एक्सप्लेनेशन कि इस नॉलेज को यूटिलाइज कैसे करिए. और आई एम श्योर दैट जो भी ऑडियंस है, जितने भी लोग आज हमें जुड़े हुए हैं, उनको काफी सुन के बेहतर लगा होगा ये कॉन्वर्जेशन. और मैं ऑडियंस से ही कहना चाहूंगा कि अगर आपको कोई क्वेश्चंस है, कोई डाउट है इस कॉन्वर्जेशन से रिलेटेड, तो प्लीज आप चैट बॉक्स में टाइप कीजिए, या तो फिर अनम्यूट करके भी आप हमसे डायरेक्टली अभी बात कर सकते हैं. I guess आपका explanation ही इतना बढ़िया था कि लोगों को कोई doubt ही नहीं है दर्शित, as always. And it's always good to listen to you. I enjoy your talk.
I think people have questions, but they are unable to unmute. So if you can help them out.
Yeah. Akash, can we do that, please?
Yeah, now it is working. I've been able to unmute myself. So I have my mom here. We are attending the seminar for her, and she has severe gut issues. She's also celiac, and we are not sure whether she has IBS, and she also has ulcerative colitis. So it's a chronic problem.
Right.
So do you think something like this can be reversed, or are we just going to do this for curiosity's sake? That okay, let's find out. But
Right.
can we say she has ulcerative colitis? She's anyways a celiac. She's lactose intolerant. All of this is related, I feel. And I did ask her doctor, who's in Apollo, because we are taking your supplements. I'm on NMN recently. It's helping me to boost. So there is a certain faith that is coming in your products. So I did check with the doctor, and he said, "नहीं ज़्यादा नहीं कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा." But that is a doctor's view. I'm not letting him influence my decision about her. But what is your take on this?
Right. So I think Ms. Veena, definitely I would love to answer that question. So the microbiome test is not just for knowing ki bhai kya hai, kya nahi hai, right? It can really help if your physician is on the preventive side. You know, a lot of preventive care side doctors use such tests, you know, to get into the data of your body and design certain plans for you, which can actually help you reverse that. We in fact have the Decode Age itself as a nutrigenomics expert within the house, you know, who can help you understand the microbiome data that you have got and then make a proper diet plan according to that, or suggest certain tips which can actually help you, you know, if not to reduce or even reverse certain aspects of the diseases that anyone would have that are related to gut. Now, like ulcerative colitis is an important disease related to the gut, right? Even with the IBS. And repeatedly, doctors around India, a certain sect of doctors like functional medicine doctors, preventive care doctors, have successfully treated such cases and have reversed it, right? So if you get in touch with our team, we can definitely connect you to these doctors as well, and we can help you with the microbiome data that the doctors are looking for, and this duo can actually help you know, the patient reverse certain diseases in that case. And it's also about the kind of doctor that you go to, you know, because each doctor have their own protocols that they follow. So probably, you know, you will have to look at the modern way, which is usually the preventive way of looking at diseases, you know, rather than using the typical pharmacological drugs. So maybe that approach can help. And at least the cases that we have got so far, you know, many people come to our brand, and when we do their microbiome analysis, we see that yes, there is a certain problem out there which could be directed to the right physician or the right doctor. So our team can actually help you connect to those doctors who have reversed such cases, and then they might take over and use the data to, you know, properly plan out what you can do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patel. That would be really good. So how can how can I get in touch with your team? I do have one number of Ananya. Maybe she
Right.
can. Maybe she
Right.
can.
So yeah, Ananya can definitely help you. You can put a query on that number. It will go through the scientific team, will connect to the right doctors, and will make you meet one of them as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Ms. Veena, for the question.
So Amit Gupta has a request that please share the recording of the webinar. So Amit, it will be available on YouTube. And also one thing that we are starting with the Decode Age podcast as well, जहाँ पे बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन हाउ टू बी हेल्दी डिस्कस की जाएगी, तो आप वो भी देख सकते हैं. आप लोग यूट्यूब चैनल जो है डिकोड एज का, उसको सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं.
Right. I think Ms. Shruti has a question, and then we can take another question from Decode Age. Yeah, Ms. Shruti, are you there with us? Can someone from the team help Ms. Shruti post her question, please? Right. Meanwhile, I'll address the next question in the chat box, which is, does the composition of gut microbiome change with age? It's a very interesting question, in fact. So it has been repeatedly observed that for the first 3 years in our lives, which is when we have just born from, the mother's womb, the gut microbiome is highly dynamic. And then over the next course of 10 to 12 years, which is by the time you turn 15 or 18 or even 20, it stabilizes itself. अब 20 से 40 के बीच में एक कांस्टेंट पैटर्न रहता है until a disease comes up in your body. So usually the age is not the most important factor, but rather how the environment is and what kind of diseases you are getting in your body or what kind of metabolic disorders that changes the gut microbiome. But essentially अगर हम देखें तो पहले 20 साल एक stabilization stage होता है, 20 to 40 या 50 years of age तक वापस एक stable microbiome maintained होता है body के अंदर. And then after 50, it starts changing again. And then until the age of 80, it pretty much remains the same. And then it starts changing again. बहुत ही interesting features दिखे हमें हमारे खुद के research project में, जहाँ हमने centenarians research project. So people who are 95 and above, 100 and above, जब हमने उनका microbiome देखा, तो उनमें कुछ बहुत ही ज्यादा peculiar चीजें थी जो हमें लगता है कि वो help करता है एक आदमी को एक लंबा और healthy जीने के लिए. So ये जो question है, ये अभी भी 70% आंसर्ड है थ्रू आउट द साइंस की डज गट माइक्रोबायोम कंपोजिशन चेंज विद एज, बट आई थिंक विद इन द नेक्स्ट 3 to 5 years वी आर गोइंग टू सी रिजल्ट्स व्हिच इज कंप्लीटली गोइंग टू चेंज आवर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ एजिंग एंड माइक्रोबायोम. For the next question, what's the cost of getting the microbiome analysis done? So I think the team can help Nithya Balasubramaniam to, for the website link and all the related discount codes. I'm not the best person to answer that question. And next we have a question from Tanya. It is about, can consumption of antibiotics affect the gut microbiome? It is a rather very important question. Antibiotics for us since 1950s has been a boon. हमें आज सुबह सर्दी हो गई या खांसी आ गई तो हमने रात तक एंटीबायोटिक ले लिया और हमें लगा सॉल्यूशन आ गया. But when you repeatedly keep taking this antibiotics, all the good microorganisms are going to kill. Because antibiotics itself means killing the bacteria. And when you take antibiotics, वो select करके नहीं मारता है, वो सारे bacteria को मारता है, फिर वो अच्छे हो या बुरे. So if you are repeatedly taking antibiotics, it can destroy your gut microbiome. Not just that, you will become also more resistant to the antibiotic. मतलब अगर आप पहली बार में अगर कुछ 1 mg में आपको काम कर रहा है, वो अगली बार शायद आपको 3 mg 5 mg तक भी जा सकता है. We see that in modern world there is a different kind of infection called the superbug infection. Superbug infection ऐसा है कि अगर वो regular bug होता तो it would have caused the minor diarrhea, you would have taken a medicine and got over it. But when it becomes a superbug, that means when you're taking an antibiotic, it's not actually killing the bad bacteria and it still keeps growing. So इसे हम superbug infections कहते हैं and it is very common in the modern world. आज एंटीबायोटिक रेजिस्टेंस एक बहुत ही बड़ा प्रॉब्लम बन चुका है मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड में. एंड एक माइक्रोबायोम टेस्ट से आपको पता चल सकता है कि आप कौन कौन से एंटीबायोटिक से रेजिस्टेंट हो चुके हो. अगर आप उस एंटीबायोटिक से रेजिस्टेंट हो चुके हो तो आपके डॉक्टर्स को एक वाइजर चॉइस मिलेगा कि मैं और कौन सा एंटीबायोटिक यूज कर सकूं जिससे इनका गट रेजिस्टेंट है या नहीं. सो आई होप आई आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चन, तान्या. We have, is different body types influenced by gut microbiome? Oh yes, again that is a definite yes, and I think we are getting some great questions today, Mustafa. Great crowd to host.
Yeah.
So is different body types influenced by gut microbiome? Definitely. You'll see that weight loss or weight gain, even in that case, both in case of obesity and anorexia, gut microbiome has shown to play an important role. Even, bariatric surgeries, which is nowadays quite commonly accepted in the obesity side of the field, of the medical field, where they get the fat removed from the body through a surgical, apparatus. In that case also, we have seen that gut microbiome testing पहले और बाद में दोनों कराना बहुत ही important है, because, the kind of body you have is the kind of gut microbiome you will host. And the kind of gut microbiome you are hosting will decide the fate of how your body will be. So be it weight loss, be it weight gain, be it obesity, या be it metabolic disorders. अगर आपका lower abdominal fat ज़्यादा है, upper abdominal fat ज़्यादा है, तो उसमें भी gut microbiome का एक बहुत important role है. Especially in Indian population, where both obesity and type 2 diabetes are a big problem in a certain section of the society. Gut microbiome analysis एक बहुत ही important factor बन गया, and हमें more and more data चाहिए इसे और deeply समझने के लिए और इसे control करने के लिए.
Hey, thanks, Darshit. I have a follow-up question to this. For
Surely,
example, someone have a lean body type, or someone is like more obese side, then by balancing the gut microbiome, can we change the body types, or can we just put on weight, or can we lose weight?
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it can be done. In fact, we have seen within our user cohorts also that एक diet change करने से, एक ज़्यादा personalized diet करने से also we can reverse metabolic issues like type 2 diabetes and even reduce the weight in a very healthy way. My simple logic to it's a very simple logic to it, that you gain your weight or you gain unhealthy weight by eating the food. So definitely what's going to help you control that weight is also your food, and not just the cardio exercises or walking and running that you do in your everyday life. That is good for your heart. That's not good for your weight loss. For your weight loss, it has always been diet and food. Because जो weight बढ़ाता है, वही weight कम भी कर सकता है. And even in athletes, you see many athletes get this because to optimize your body, athletes need a specific body type. They need a specific energy metabolism to happen in their gut. And all that happens through microbiome. So there is definitely a role of microbiome in contributing to the body type and also to change the body type.
Okay, thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ankita. We have, what is the mechanism of gut microbiome affecting brain function and hormone levels? Again, an interesting question. So just like gut has been called a forgotten organ, if you recently check out, it has also been called the second brain. Why does it happen that, suddenly when we are feeling good, we want to eat certain food, or when we are feeling depressed, we talk about, binge eating because, you are sad, or anxious eating. People, when they get anxiety or stress in their work life, they immediately go and find some snack and start eating it. So these are signals from your gut, which are being sent to your brain that, okay, there is something wrong. I need this or that kind of food. Sugar cravings. Why do people who have regular habit of eating sugar in the night will always feel like, yaar, khane ke baad ek dessert mil jata to kafi acha hota. So that is all sugar craving. So these are your gut microbiome releasing those postbiotics or metabolites जो आपके brain को affect करता है. Even in recent studies, we have seen that most of the serotonin and dopamine, which is the happy and the sleep hormone, are in fact produced within your gut, and they travel through the blood to the brain. So this is what the whole entire mechanism, your anxiety, your cravings, your sleep disturbance, even your moods, they all are affected by how your gut microbiome is producing metabolites and how these metabolites are interacting with your brain. So Veena Thukral has a question. Do you have any current supplement which can positively impact microbiome? So it is very important to realize, Ms. Veena here, that supplement is not always the easy way out, right? First, we need to understand the microbiome. We need to see exactly what is wrong and what is right with our microbiome. और जो चीज food से control हो सकती है, उसे हम extra supplements क्यों दें, right? There are ways. You can do something very simple in your everyday life which can change it. What I do, I would take a yogurt, right? I would take one probiotic capsule, empty it in the yogurt, and allow it to stand in the fridge for the next one day, and then eat it. So that's a good, thick, large community of probiotics that are entering in your body. And honestly, probiotics are very personalized. You might have 5 of the 10 probiotics you need. So why are you taking them all over again in your body, right? So the first way to do it would be to get the test, see what is the difference, right? The second step would be to understand your microbiome. The third step is कि आप food को इस तरह से plan कीजिए कि जो आपके अंदर missing है वो आ जाए. Supplement should not be the first way out when it comes to microbiome. Yes, जब आप एक healthy से optimization stage पे ले जाना चाहते हो तो supplements help, but there are still easy ways to do it. If you are having your buttermilk almost every other day and keeping it a bit sour, not the fresh buttermilk, but let it sour a bit, and then you take that. There is kombucha, there is paneer, there is yogurt. So there are natural foods which can naturally grow the good microbiome. So your first option should be that before you decide to take a capsule. because there's another problem with probiotics, or the supplements. It is as simple as that when you will take a probiotic supplement, most of it will die in the stomach itself because of the acidic environment. So you're basically wasting 50% of your capsule within your stomach, and whatever is left over will reach down in your intestine. That's not the problem with food. So the first thing should be to test the microbiome, arrange your diet accordingly. And then beyond that, if you need a supplement, then yes, there is a super yogurt where you take one probiotic capsule, allow it to stand in a yogurt culture, and then have that yogurt the next day. You'll enjoy the taste definitely, and you'll definitely enjoy what it gives you on a healthy basis. To answer Rishabh's question, I think we have already discussed how gut microbiome and anxiety are related, because anxiety, when you get stressed out or overwhelmed, like Saturday night, you are still working because your boss gave you some work and you're still stressed out. So at that time, you'll feel like binging something. That's your brain releasing, certain kind of transmitters to your gut that it needs food. The gut will digest that junk food or the snacks that you have just eaten, and it will just contribute to more anxiety, and it is not going to help. At the same time, when you are feeling anxious, and if you take a nice probiotic and relax, you will see that change coming. So there is an interplay between your brain and your microbiome, and anxiety, mood, sleep, all of them will be codependent between all of them. We have a question by NC. Is there any microbiome supplement discovered for depression till date? The direct answer and one-word answer for that would be no. It is about the balance of microbiome, not a specific bacteria, not a specific anything. So the balance, the better the balance, the better your, influence on your brain or your anxiety levels or your mood levels. And it is always suggested to go to the right people when it comes to depression, because mental disorders cannot be solved sitting at home, and you need to get to the root of it. So to answer this question, first, I would like to tell you that if there is depression, if there is mental problems, or if you're going through something in your life, it is always recommended to meet the right people, the right professionals, and they will help them. But obviously, maintaining your good microbiome balance will be one of the part of their own protocol. So please meet the right experts if you are going through something like that. We wish you are not going through like that. How much time does it take to treat dysbiosis? It really depends on the intensity of the dysbiosis, Mr. Asfar. If your gut microbiome is highly disturbed, a 4 to 6 week protocol would be the minimum that you would need, and that needs to be continued and make amends to as we move forward. So usually a 4-week protocol is a standard protocol to bring a balance to the microbiome, and then the optimization happens. So I would say that yes, minimum, you should allow at least 3 months when you're going through a microbiome rehabilitation. That much time is definitely needed. Sneha is asking, what is the ideal time to collect the stool sample for this test? Usually you cannot control these cycles in your body. You cannot poop at your own will. It's when your sphincter muscle will send a message to your brain and you will feel like, okay, now it's time to release myself. But yes, there are certain things you should consider. If you are doing a drastic change in your diet in the past 2 months, in the past 2 days, if there's a drastic change in your diet, suddenly you are eating outside a lot and all, try to avoid to take your stool sample during that time. Or if you have had alcohol just the last night, maybe you went to a friend's party and had a drink or two, then try not to give the microbiome analysis on the next day, because alcohol will kill most of the good bacteria. So it will create a bias. The best way is whatever your natural lifestyle is, let's let it go on and you collect a stool during that. Or maybe if you have traveled somewhere and just come back, please don't collect the stool during that time as well. It should be a balance. It should be a regular lifestyle so that you get the best insights about what your regular gut microbiome is. So that is the only place. Otherwise, time of the day doesn't matter.
Mr. Afzar is asking about NMN. So this webinar is about gut microbiome, and we'll keep it to gut microbiome. Mr. Afzar, if you have this question now, you can contact us anytime at our customer care number. We will address it there separately. And the next
Right. I
question
think
is,
we can just quickly take up that question also, Mustafa. It is not right, to let a question pass, at least for me. So, like I understand, NMN 1000 has been prescribed to someone, and they have not felt the change in energy level. So, Mr. Asfar, I would really ask you to connect that person to my team, or probably I will look into what is happening, what is their regular routine, and what time are they taking the NMN 1000. So we would love to connect. We would love to help the person out, because it is the first thing that we do as a team, that we want to help our people out. And if they're not feeling a change, we can suggest what could be done about it. There is no, resistance towards approaching to us about that. So please do reach out. The scientific team will look into it. And we can also, if you go to our website on any of the product page also, you will see a place where you can prescribe to a protocol. We'll create a free protocol for you, where lifestyle, diet, and other factors will be considered. And maybe through that, we can take a more holistic approach on the person and feel the change and make a positive change in their health. So we'll be happy to invite you to do that, Mr. Asfar. Have heard about Alzheimer's disease, which is connected with gut. Is it true? A lot of data is there, right, where the food and the microbiome has been said to influence the Alzheimer onset and all. There's still not a solid data, or there is not a proper conclusion. There's just correlations between the two. But there are a few scientists working in this field, and they're about to reach some interesting hypothesis. So I think we'll have to wait just for a couple of years to see exactly how microbiome is contributing to Alzheimer's, or the other way around. Should I continue the supplement NMN, or should I add any other supplement? I think it's a question from Mr. Asfar again. So Mr. Asfar, like I said, please connect to the team so that we can take a detailed look into what is your lifestyle and what are the different factors that are contributing to the problems you have, and understand your goals with your health. Based on that, we'll come to a decision, and then we can and then we can take a decision on how you want to continue with that. So I think Ms. Veena has a question in continuation to what she asked on the webinar. So after we get the test done, we will eat according to our microbiome, right? Are we doing the test only to ensure that we eat what we can digest? Sorry, need some more clarity. Right. So yes, definitely we will be eating, or will be designing our lifestyle more according to our microbiome. And it's never about only eating this or only eating that. Whatever is needed to balance the right aspects of your microbiome will be suggested to you. There'll be certain foods for your gut which are superfoods for you personally. In that case, you can definitely add those foods into your into your diets on an everyday basis. And the other thing, these are not diet plans like कि सुबह breakfast में आप ये recipe बना के खाओ, या दोपहर को lunch में आप ये recipe बना के खाओ. It's just to add more diversity to your food so that your microbiome can be balanced for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then it can come to that complete harmony where it can start working on your health. I hope I've cleared that question, Ms. Veena, but I would love to know if you have any related question with that.
No, thank you. You've been very helpful. Sorry, I'm asking so many questions.
No.
And just one thing, so you will recommend the exact foods, ke matlab you should eat more of these vegetables, or you should be eating more of rice, or you should avoid rice. You will be suggesting all that going into
Right, exactly. We'll give you the list of foods which you need, which you can avoid, and superfoods which are individualized for you. Because there are certain foods which can really help your microbiome in a multiple fold manner. So उन cases में हम आपको एक superfood का भी list देंगे. So there is no rigorous thing to it कि मैं अब ये खा ही नहीं सकती, अब मैं यही खाना पड़ेगा. It's rather how to create the balance between the two. Because खाना change करना एक habit changing behavior है, and as much as we say, we cannot do it overnight. So there is a stepwise protocol to do it, and that's what we are going to help you out.
So you will be holding our hand after the test.
Definitely, that's our key value offering. We are not here to just do your test, but whatever help you need after that, because we can understand that these reports can get a bit scientific.
Right.
So उन science को uncoil करने के लिए our team will always be there. एक nutrigenomics expert रहेगा, आपके साथ एक और science के team रहेंगे. Like I said, अगर doctors को connect करना है, हम उनको भी pull in करके ले आएंगे. So all these people will start working together and help you design your health better. And
Thank-
definitely there's a commitment for 2 months जो आपको देना पड़ेगा आपकी health की तरफ. But these are 2 months for a good period of time that are going to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem, Ms. Meena.
So we are receiving questions on YouTube also. Rishabh Chopra is asking, does the composition of gut microbiome change with age? And the other question is from him only. What is the connection between gut health and overall health, and how can it be optimized? Very
Right. Before that, in my chat room, I can say that Mr. Asfar is asking for a contact number. So I think someone from the team can connect with him on the email or probably get his contact number in direct message and connect to them. I'm sure one of the team members must already be on it, right? Now, what is the connection between gut health and overall health? Like I said, if the gut microbiome is in dysbiosis phase, यानी कि अगर खराब microorganisms बढ़ चुके हैं, तो आपका gut lining break होगा. जो चीजें गट के अंदर रहनी चाहिए वो बाहर एस्केप होगी. आपके किडनीज, पैनक्रियाज, आपके लंग्स, आपके हार्ट या आपके ब्रेन को एक अफेक्ट करेगी. सो दैट्स हाउ द गट हेल्थ इज रिलेटेड टू ओवरऑल हेल्थ. जब भी गट हेल्थ ठीक नहीं होता है, when we feel that our gut is disturbed, the entire body doesn't function suddenly properly. So that's the first sign that how gut is related to an entire health. And it's very important to realize that there is only two things that we do on everyday basis 3 to 4 times a day. That is, we breathe and we eat. So obviously we are eating to maintain the overall health, but the food is being digested within your gut. तो अगर वो gut के अंदर digest हो रहा है, तो gut is the major role player in nutrient metabolism, in making your vitamins, in extracting the right things out of your food and making sure कि ये सारी चीजें एक right organ तक पहुंचे. तो अगर आपका gut disturbed है, तो आपके बाकी health organs काफी हद तक disturbed रहेंगे. Finally, we have the last question so far, which is on, does microbiome supplement have the same impact on immunocompromised patients or patients with just some overactive immune system? Now, I think the kind of problem you're describing here, Ms. Ansi, is about the autoimmune problems. And yes, a lot of microbiome dysbiosis is related with the autoimmune response or immunocompromised patients. So I think for this, the microbiome test can be worked out with the right physician, a right preventive care doctor, so that, we can understand how the microbiome supplement or how the microbiome change can influence your autoimmune conditions or immunocompromised patients. So in that case, again, with the test, you will need the right physician to help you out with that, Ms. NC.
So I guess that's all questions.
We have one last question.
One last question.
Just come up. Is your gut microbiome, just a second, yeah. Is your
Changes
gut
during
microbiome
pregnancy.
changing during pregnancy? Does it have effect on growth of the baby? This is again an excellent question. The progeny, or I'm sorry if that word got too scientific. The baby which is growing inside, the mother's body will definitely be influenced by the mother's gut microbiome, because what the mother's microbiome is going to do with the food will decide what kind of metabolites it will produce and mix with the blood. And this blood is eventually going to go through the placenta to the child, right? So how your mother's food is, and जो एक mother का खाना होगा, जो एक mother का microbiome होगा, वो काफी हद तक ऐसे metabolites आपकी blood में add करेगा जो आपके बेबी तक पहुंचने वाले हैं या तो एक ग्रोइंग womb की तरफ पहुंचने वाले हैं. So it is really important that the pregnant woman maintains a very nice microbiome such that the child can get as much benefits out of it while it is growing. There is another aspect to it which I find the most interesting. When people have done studies, जब scientific studies हुई कि delivery, the mode of delivery for the child, if it has been through the natural vaginal canal and if it has been through the C-section. तो आप देखोगे तो जब एक natural delivery होता है एक vaginal section से या एक vaginal canal से, तो जो मदर की वजाइना का जो माइक्रोबायोम होता है वो काफी हद तक चाइल्ड का माइक्रोबायोम बन जाता है गट में. वही चीज अगर सिजेरियन से होता है या सी सेक्शन से डिलीवरी होता है तो जो हॉस्पिटल माइक्रोबायोम होता है वो इन्फ्लुएंस करता है. तो ये काफी इंटरेस्टिंग बायोलॉजी है जो हमें रिसेंटली समझ आई है एज अ साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी. And thank you for asking this question, Ms. Sonal, because this is going to help a lot of females, who are planning a child, maybe going ahead in the future or are currently pregnant. And I think it is really important that we look at how the mother's microbiome is influencing the baby and even how the delivery way is influencing the baby. So I think Mr.
There is
Priya,
one more question.
yeah. How easy or difficult is it to rebalance the microbiome? Thanks to the current science, it is quite easy. It's just that you need to commit those 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or probably 2 months or 3 months to the right way to balance your microbiome. It could be just done by the use of food and eliminating the right food and eating the right food. Just that is needed. But if you commit for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, your microbiome can rebalance itself and you can really start optimizing your health overall just by eating the right food. So yeah, very interesting question. Thank you for that question. And I think it is really needed to understand कि बहुत ही छोटा commitment है, but बहुत ही exponential benefit है इसका. तो वो 4 या 6 week एक challenge की तरह लेना चाहिए हमें. अगर Kellogg's एक shallow science बेच सकता है for the breakfast cereal, तो ये तो फिर एक 4 to 6 week का diet commitment है जो हम ले सकते हैं to rebalance the microbiome for the overall health of the body.
Okay, so I guess that's all questions we had, Darshit. Thank you very much. आपने इतने easy way में इतना complex science जो explain किया है और audience के जो question आए, the scientific temper that they have, बहुत ही amazing था. I like as a scientific communicator, I'm really inspired by them. And this is the approach that we encourage at Decode Age as well. कुछ भी करने से पहले आप समझिए कि आपको क्यों करना चाहिए, and then take a step ahead. And for that, this webinar is there. हमारा podcast series भी है Decode Age के ही channel पे, Decode Age podcast करके. तो मैं लोगों को encourage करूंगा कि आप वो भी देखिए Decode Age के YouTube channel पे, subscribe कीजिए. हम जो भी information put on कर रहे हैं, हम साइंटिफिकली वैलिडेट करके ही पुट ऑन करेंगे जो आपको डेली लाइफ में हेल्प करेगा ये सारे डिसीजंस लेने में. और हम ये होप करते हैं कि यू विल लिव लॉन्ग एंड हेल्दियर एज मच एज पॉसिबल. सो थैंक यू वंस अगेन एवरीवन फॉर जॉइनिंग दिस वेबिनार. आल्सो इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस लाइक वेबिनार के बाद भी पॉडकास्ट सुनते हुए भी आपको कुछ भी क्वेश्चंस आए रिलेटेड टू हेल्दी एजिंग, लॉन्जेविटी, you can mail us anytime at care@decodeage.com and we will get back to you. And also contact our customer care executives. So thank you very much everyone for joining this webinar, and thank you Darshit for giving such a wonderful explanation. It's always amazing to listen to you.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. Thank you everyone for asking such great questions. It is always wonderful to take up good questions. It keeps us also thinking, and this helps us decide a better way to inform everyone. So thank you everyone.
Thank you. See you at next webinar.
Yes, cheers. Good day everyone. Have a good weekend.